Not all kindness is genuine. That's a hard truth most people don't want to admit. We're taught from a young age that kindness is a virtue, a universal good, something to be trusted. But have you ever trusted someone's kindness, only to realize it was a weapon? Think back. Was there ever a moment when someone's kindness left you feeling obligated, controlled, or even betrayed? Maybe it was a favor you never asked for, but suddenly you owed them. Maybe it was a smile that hid an agenda. Maybe it was help that came with invisible chains. Kindness in its purest form is selfless. It's meant to uplift, to heal, to strengthen. But too often, kindness is used as a tool, a disguise, a strategy, a means to an end. Some people use it to manipulate, some use it to gain power, some use it to make themselves look better while keeping you small. And the worst part, most people don't see it until it's too late. Because we've been conditioned to believe that kindness is always good, we let our guard down. We assume good intentions. We ignore the red flags. But not all kindness is pure. Not all kindness is real. So the question is, how many times have you mistaken a mask for a face? People assume all kindness is good because it feels good. A kind word, a helping hand, a warm smile. It triggers something deep inside us. It makes us feel safe, it makes us trust. But what if I told you that's exactly why manipulators use it? Not all smiles are warm, some are calculated. Not all generosity is pure, some comes with invisible price tags. Some people use kindness like a fisherman uses bait, reeling you in with compliments, favors and attention, only to hook you when you least expect it. Why? Because kindness makes people let their guard down. It builds trust quickly, and trust is power. It gives access, it gives influence, it gives control. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who was overly kind too soon? Someone who showered you with praise, gifts and attention before you even got to know them? That's not kindness, that's a strategy. They're not giving because they care, they're giving because they want something in return. True kindness asks for nothing. It gives without expecting. But fake kindness always has a hidden cost. And if you're not careful, you won't see the price until it's too late. So how do you tell the difference? How do you know if someone's kindness is real or just a performance? The answer is simple. Real kindness gives. Fake kindness trades. Real kindness doesn't keep score. It doesn't remind you of what it's done for you. It doesn't make you feel like you owe something in return. Fake kindness, on the other hand, always has an agenda. It may not ask for payback immediately, but eventually the bill comes due. Real kindness respects your boundaries. It doesn't push. It doesn't demand. It doesn't make you feel guilty for saying no. But fake kindness makes you feel like the bad guy for standing up for yourself. It makes you feel ungrateful, selfish, or even cruel for not giving in. Real kindness stands the test of time. It's consistent. It doesn't change depending on who's watching. Fake kindness, though, it's a show. It's only there when it benefits the person giving it. And that's the biggest sign of all. If someone's kindness disappears the moment you stop being useful to them, it was never kindness in the first place. It was leverage. Think back. Was there a time you felt obligated to accept someone's kindness, even when it felt wrong? Maybe you accepted a favor just to avoid conflict. Maybe you kept quiet about something that bothered you because you didn't want to seem ungrateful. Maybe you gave someone the benefit of the doubt even when your gut told you not to. That's the trap. Fake kindness doesn't just manipulate, it pressures. It creates an unspoken debt. It makes you feel like you can't walk away, even when you know you should. A friend once told me about a job offer that seemed too good to be true. The employer was overly generous, overly complimentary, and overly eager. He ignored red flags because he didn't want to seem unappreciative. Within months, that kind employer turned controlling, demanding more and more, expecting complete loyalty in return for past generosity. When my friend finally quit, he was accused of being ungrateful, selfish, and disloyal. But was he? Or was the kindness never really kindness at all? This is what you need to understand. Real kindness doesn't trap you. It doesn't guilt trip you. It doesn't make you feel like you owe something. If kindness comes with invisible chains, it's not kindness, it's control. And once you recognize that, you can finally set yourself free. Too much praise isn't always a good thing. In fact, it can be a trap. Think about the last time someone complimented you excessively. Maybe they called you amazing before even knowing much about you, or acted like you were the best person they'd ever met within minutes of meeting you. That wasn't admiration, that was a setup. Why? Because excessive praise lowers your defenses. It makes you trust faster. It makes you feel safe with someone you barely know, and that's exactly what a manipulator wants. They don't want you thinking too hard. They don't want you questioning their motives. They want you soaking in the compliments so that when they finally ask for something in return, you feel like you owe them. Flattery is one of the oldest manipulation tricks in the book. It makes people crave more of it. It makes people more willing to please. It makes people overlook warning signs because, after all, they've been so nice. But real praise is earned, not thrown at you like bait. Real praise comes from people who actually know you, not from someone who barely understands who you are. So the next time someone showers you with excessive compliments too soon, take a step back. Ask yourself, do they really see me, or are they just setting the stage? If someone only gives when they can take, is that kindness? Kindness should be free, it should be genuine. But too often, generosity is used as a silent contract, one you never agreed to, but are still expected to follow. Ever had someone do you a favor, only for them to bring it up later when they needed something? Ever felt like rejecting a gift was impossible because it would make things awkward? Ever noticed how some people only help when there's an audience watching? That's not generosity, that's leverage. Real kindness doesn't keep score. It doesn't wait for the perfect moment to cash in on past favors. But fake kindness? Fake kindness always comes with a price. It might not be obvious at first, but sooner or later, the bill comes due. A true giver gives because they care. A manipulator gives because they're investing in control, in guilt, in your unspoken obligation to pay them back. So be careful when accepting generosity from someone who keeps reminding you of it. Because if someone makes you feel like you owe them just for being treated decently, they were never kind to begin with. I'm just looking out for you. Sounds harmless, right? But in the wrong hands, that phrase is a weapon. Fake kindness doesn't always come in grand gestures. Sometimes it hides in subtle digs disguised as concern. It's the friend who supports your dreams by constantly reminding you of the risks. It's the family member who cares about your happiness but only ever points out what you're doing wrong. Are you sure you can handle that job? I mean, I just don't want you to struggle. Well, that's great you're starting a business. Most of them fail, but hey, you never know. You look nice. I mean, I wouldn't wear that, but if you like it, that's all that matters. See the pattern? These comments aren't meant to uplift. They're meant to control. They plant doubt. They make you second-guess yourself, and all while keeping the manipulator looking like they're just being honest. Real support strengthens. Fake support weakens. And the easiest way to tell the difference is to ask yourself one question. Do I feel more confident after talking to them, or do I feel smaller? Because real kindness doesn't shrink you, it helps you grow. Ever noticed how some people do wrong, but somehow you end up apologizing? That's the power of fake kindness in its most dangerous form, the victim card. It's the person who hurts you, but cries harder than you when they confronted. It's the friend who constantly drains you, but makes you feel guilty if you pull away. It's the person who manipulates situations so well that even when they're in the wrong, they somehow become the one who needs comfort. Fake kindness can be a guilt trip in disguise. It's the silent expectation that you'll keep tolerating bad behavior just because the other person meant well. It's the emotional blackmail that makes you feel like setting boundaries is cruel. But here's the truth. Real kindness doesn't need a victim. It doesn't make people feel obligated to stay in toxic situations. It doesn't demand endless forgiveness without change. If someone's kindness always comes with a sob story, a guilt trip, or an expectation that you'll ignore their harmful behavior because they've been through a lot, be careful. Because kindness that keeps you stuck isn't kindness. It's a trap. Kindness can be a brand, but does that make it real? Think about it. Companies donate to charities, but is it generosity or just good PR? Celebrities give back while cameras flash, but is that kindness or just another way to stay relevant? Politicians shake hands and kiss babies, but do they actually care? Or are they just playing a role? The world is full of fake kindness. It's in the co-worker who's only nice when the boss is watching. It's in the influencer who preaches positivity but treats people poorly behind the scenes. It's in the person who offers help, not because they want to, but because it makes them look good. Real kindness isn't about performance. It isn't about image. It isn't about getting something in return. So, how do you tell the difference? Look at what happens when no one's watching. Look at what happens when there's nothing to gain. Look at how someone treats people who have nothing to offer them, because that's the only real test. Fake kindness fades when the spotlight disappears. Real kindness stays, even when no one is there to see it. The world will tell you that kindness is always a good thing, that if someone is nice to you, they must have good intentions. But now, you know better. Not all kindness is real. Not all generosity is selfless, and not everyone who appears good is actually good. So don't let fake kindness trick you into trusting the wrong people. Don't let it guilt you into staying in places you don't belong. And most of all, don't let it convince you that your instincts are wrong. Because when it comes to your peace, your happiness, and your freedom, the kindest thing you can do is protect yourself. People want to believe in kindness. It's natural. We grow up hearing that kindness is the answer, that good people do good things, and that if someone is kind to us, they must be a good person. It's comforting to believe that. It makes the world feel safer. But what happens when that belief blinds us? How many times have you ignored warning signs just because you wanted to believe someone had good intentions? How many times have you excused someone's behavior because they meant well? It's hard to accept that not all kindness is real. Because if we admit that, then we have to admit that some people who seem good aren't actually good. We have to admit that sometimes we've been fooled. And that's painful. But here's the truth. Real kindness isn't about words, it's about actions. And no matter how much you want to believe in someone, their actions will always tell you who they really are. So ask yourself, do you believe in kindness or do you believe in patterns? Because one of them will keep you safe and the other will keep you stuck. Politeness can be a trap. We're taught that rejecting kindness is rude, that if someone offers us something we should accept it with gratitude, that if someone helps us we should repay them. But what if that kindness is a leash? Think about it. Have you ever accepted a favor just because saying no felt awkward? Have you ever kept quiet about something that made you uncomfortable because you didn't want to make a scene? Have you ever gone along with something just to avoid looking ungrateful? That's not gratitude, that's pressure. Manipulators know that most people hate confrontation. They know that if they frame their control as kindness, most people won't fight back. They know that as long as they keep up the illusion of generosity, they can get away with anything. But you don't owe anyone your silence. You don't owe anyone access to you just because they help you. And you are not obligated to accept kindness that doesn't feel right, because real kindness doesn't make you feel trapped. And the moment it does, it's not kindness, it's control. Your kindness can be used against you. Let that sink in. A manipulator doesn't need force when they can use your own empathy against you. They don't need to demand, they just have to make you feel bad for not giving in. Ever had someone say, after everything I've done for you, when you tried to set a boundary? Ever been made to feel guilty for prioritizing your own needs? Ever found yourself apologizing when you weren't the one who did anything wrong? That's how manipulators work. They make you feel selfish for choosing yourself. They make you feel like the bad guy for standing your ground. They use your own kindness to break you down. And the scariest part? It works. Because good people don't want to hurt others. Good people don't want to seem ungrateful. Good people want to believe in the best. And that's exactly why good people get taken advantage of. But here's what you need to understand. Real kindness is never a weapon. And if someone is using yours against you, they were never truly kind to begin with. A friend of mine once told me a story that stuck with me. She had a co-worker who was always overly kind, bringing her coffee, complimenting her work, offering to help with tasks even when she didn't ask. It seemed harmless until one day she politely declined an offer for help, and suddenly everything changed. The same co-worker who had been so kind started acting cold. The compliments stopped, the friendly smiles disappeared, and soon the same person who had once been overly generous started spreading rumors about her. Why? because their kindness was never real. It was a currency, a trade, a way to gain favor, control, and influence. And the moment she didn't play along, the mask slipped. This is how you know when kindness is fake. When you say no, does their attitude change? When you set a boundary, do they punish you for it? When you stop giving them what they want, do they turn against you? Because real kindness doesn't disappear the moment you stop being useful. Real kindness doesn't come with consequences. And the moment you realize that, you stop feeling guilty for protecting yourself. How much of your life has been spent pleasing the wrong people? Think about it. How many times have you put someone else's feelings before your own peace? How many times have you ignored your instincts just to keep the peace? How many times have you let someone drain your energy because it was easier than confronting them? The cost of staying blind to fake kindness is heavy. It takes your time, your energy, your confidence, and your freedom. It makes you second-guess yourself. It makes you feel responsible for other people's emotions. It keeps you in relationships, jobs, and situations you should have walked away from long ago. But here's the truth. You don't owe anyone your suffering. You don't owe anyone endless chances. And you don't have to stay blind just because seeing the truth is uncomfortable. Because the moment you open your eyes, everything changes. So ask yourself, are you ready to stop making excuses for fake kindness? Are you ready to stop being controlled by guilt? Are you ready to finally put yourself first? Because if you are, everything that's been holding you back is about to lose its power. Fake kindness keeps people stuck. It makes them doubt themselves. It makes them afraid to set boundaries. But you're not stuck anymore. You see the signs now. You know how the game is played. And most importantly, you know you don't have to play it. So, starting today, stop making space for people who only show kindness when it benefits them. Stop letting guilt control you. Stop excusing behavior that drains you. And most of all, stop mistaking fake kindness for something real. Because real kindness doesn't come with a price. And you don't owe anyone anything. People can say anything. Words are cheap. Promises are easy. But patterns tell the truth. Ever met someone who constantly promised to change but never did? Someone who kept saying they didn't mean it that way, but kept doing the same thing over and over? That's not an accident. That's not forgetfulness. That's not miscommunication. That's a test. When someone's words and actions don't match, believe their actions. If they always show kindness in public but treat you differently in private, pay attention. If they only offer help when they can benefit, take note. If they make you feel guilty the moment you try to set a boundary, recognize that for what it is: manipulation. Fake kindness relies on confusion. It works because people get caught up in apologies, explanations, and promises that never lead to change. But once you start tracking patterns instead of trusting words, the truth becomes obvious. So don't fall for nice words. Don't fall for empty promises. Watch what people do, not what they say. Because real kindness doesn't need a script. It just is. No is a full sentence. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to justify your boundaries. And you definitely don't have to accept kindness that feels forced, transactional, or manipulative. The problem? Most people feel guilty saying no. They worry about hurting feelings. They fear being labeled as rude or ungrateful. But that's exactly why manipulators use kindness as a trap, because they know most people will cave. So let's make something clear. Setting boundaries doesn't make you mean, it makes you strong. If someone's kindness comes with strings attached, cut the strings. If someone makes you feel guilty for protecting your peace, let them feel that guilt. If saying no to someone's kindness causes them to turn cold, let them. That's their problem, not yours. Boundaries don't push away the right people, they push away the wrong ones. And if someone leaves because you set a boundary, they were never truly there for you to begin with. Ever had someone make you feel bad for something they did? That's emotional manipulation. And fake kindness, it thrives on it. Manipulators don't want you to notice what they're doing. They don't want you to realize that their kindness is a leash. So instead of taking responsibility, they twist things around. They play the victim. They make you feel like you're the problem. You pull away, you're overreacting. You don't accept their help, you're ungrateful. You call out their behavior, you're too sensitive. See the pattern? Fake kindness never takes responsibility. It shifts the blame. It makes you second guess yourself. It makes you feel guilty for seeing things clearly. But here's the truth. Real kindness never demands guilt in return. It never pressures. It never makes you feel like setting a boundary is wrong. So the moment you feel yourself doubting your own instincts, stop. Take a step back. Ask yourself, am I feeling guilty because I actually did something wrong? Or am I feeling guilty because someone doesn't like that I'm protecting myself? Because the second one, that's not your guilt to carry. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Not everyone deserves access to your energy, your time, or your trust. The mistake most people make? They think being kind means being available to everyone. They think they have to say yes to every favor, every request, every person who asks for something. But that's how manipulators win. They don't take control by force, they take it by access. So here's the truth. You get to decide who enters your space. Not everyone should get your kindness. Not everyone should get your time. Not everyone should get your trust. If someone drains you, distance yourself. If someone only shows up when they need something, stop picking up the phone. If someone makes you feel like you owe them for their kindness, cut the cord. Real kindness doesn't mean being available to everyone. It means knowing who actually deserves your time. And the moment you start protecting your energy, watch how fast the wrong people disappear. If you wouldn't let someone poison your food, why let them poison your mind? Walking away isn't weakness, it's power. And when it comes to fake kindness, sometimes the best thing you can do is leave. Without explaining, without arguing, without looking back. But most people struggle with this. They want closure. They want to be understood. They want the other person to acknowledge what they did. But here's the thing. Manipulators don't admit they were wrong. They just find new ways to pull you back in. So instead of waiting for an apology that will never come, give yourself permission to walk away. Not every situation needs a final conversation. Not every connection deserves a goodbye speech. Sometimes the best response is distance. Because once you walk away from fake kindness, you make room for something real. You make room for peace. You make room for people who truly care. Without conditions, without manipulation, without hidden motives. And isn't that what you deserve? Fake kindness only has power over you if you let it. It works because it plays on guilt, on politeness, on the fear of being seen as rude. But once you stop feeling guilty for protecting yourself, everything changes. So trust patterns, not promises. Set boundaries without guilt. Walk away when something feels wrong. And most importantly, remember this. Real kindness never asks you to shrink. Because real kindness, it lifts you up. And anything less than that, you don't need it. How many years of your life have been spent trying to please the wrong people? Think about it. How many times have you adjusted your words, your choices, your dreams, just to make someone else comfortable? How many times have you ignored your own needs just to keep the peace? Fake kind people thrive on controlling your self-worth. They don't want you to feel whole on your own. They want you to need their approval. They want you to question yourself so that their opinions hold more weight than your own. But here's what they won't tell you. No matter how much you give, it will never be enough. They'll keep moving the goalpost. They'll keep raising the bar. And the moment you stop bending over backward for them, they'll make you feel like you're the problem. But you're not. Because the truth is, the people who truly care about you won't need you to perform for them. They won't make their kindness conditional. They won't make you feel like you have to earn their love. So stop seeking approval from people who only respect you when you're convenient for them. Stop wasting your energy trying to be enough for people who will never be satisfied. Because the right people, they see your worth without you having to prove it. The world teaches people to be polite, to sugarcoat, to say what others want to hear. But what happens when politeness becomes a cage? How many times have you swallowed the truth because you didn't want to upset someone? How many times have you agreed to things that went against your values just to avoid conflict? Enough. Real kindness doesn't require deception. If someone only likes you when you're agreeable, they don't actually like you. If someone only respects you when you silence your truth, That respect isn't real. Stop lying to protect other people's comfort. Stop making yourself smaller so that others feel bigger. Speak the truth, even if your voice shakes. Will some people dislike you for it? Yes, and that's a good thing, because honesty filters out the people who were never meant to be in your life. It removes those who only wanted the version of you they could control. The truth will cost you fake friends, but it will attract the right ones. The kind of people who don't need you to dim your light just so they can shine. And isn't that the life you deserve? You know the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with? So ask yourself, who's in your circle? Are you surrounded by people who truly want the best for you, or are you surrounded by people who only stick around when it benefits them? The truth is, real friends celebrate you in private, not just in public. Real supporters encourage you when no one's watching, not just when it makes them look good. Look at the people in your life, who claps when you win, who listens when you struggle, who is there when you have nothing to give. Those are your people, the ones who don't need you to be perfect, who don't keep score, who don't treat kindness like a currency. And the rest? The ones who only show up when they need something? The ones who drain you more than they support you? Let them go, because life is too short to spend it proving yourself to the wrong people. Not everyone is going to like you, and that's okay. For too long you've been taught to keep the peace, to avoid conflict, to be agreeable. But at what cost? At the cost of your voice, your truth, your boundaries. It's time to let go of the need to be liked by everyone, because the hard truth is this: if you live your life trying to make everyone happy, the only person who will end up miserable is you. Think about the people you admire, the ones who stand tall, who live authentically, who refuse to shrink themselves for the comfort of others. Do they have critics? Absolutely. But do they let that stop them? No, because they understand something that most people don't. Being disliked is a sign that you're living on your own terms. It means you're no longer bending to fit into spaces that weren't meant for you. So stop fearing rejection. Stop seeking permission. Stop apologizing for being who you are. Because the moment you stop worrying about what people think, that's the moment you start living freely. Who in your life truly supports you, and who just benefits from your silence? This is the question that will change everything. Because the moment you start recognizing fake kindness, you'll start seeing just how many people have been holding you back. The friends who only call when they need something. The family members who guilt trip you into compliance. The co-workers who act friendly but sabotage you behind the scenes. Walking away from these people isn't weakness, it's power. It's choosing yourself. It's refusing to let guilt keep you in toxic spaces. It's knowing that the right people will never need you to sacrifice your peace just to keep them happy. So here's your final challenge. Take a hard look at your life. The people, the habits, the relationships. Who adds to your energy and who drains it? Who respects your boundaries and who tramples over them? And once you have your answer, make a decision. Because starting today, you are done settling for fake kindness. You are done being controlled by guilt. You are done making space for people who don't truly see you. Starting today, choose real, choose you. This isn't just about fake kindness. This is about your entire life, how you choose to protect your peace, how you choose to honor your truth, how you choose to live fully, boldly, unapologetically. So don't let fake kindness fool you. Don't let guilt control you. And most of all, don't let the fear of being disliked stop you from being exactly who you are. Because when you finally let go of the need to please, when you finally walk away from the wrong people, when you finally stand in your truth, that's when you become unstoppable.